Hey, what's up guys, Jaeky here. Today we're going to be unboxing and reviewing the NuPhy Air75 HE. This is the world's second low-profile Hall effect keyboard, the first being the Air60 HE, also from NuPhy, which I reviewed on my channel. That was obviously the 60% version. This is now their new 75% version of the Air series in the Hall effect, so you are getting the additional function keys as well as the arrow keys and some extra keys as well. So this is perfect for those of you who wanted the initial Air 60 HE low profile Hall effect, but you didn't really like the form factor. This is going to be perfect for those who need those additional keys. Shout out to NuPhy for setting this out for review, but as always, that does not affect my opinion of it. The NuPhy Air75 HE is currently retailing for 130 USD on their website. You can either get this in the low profile magnetic jade switch, or you can get their magnetic jade pro switch, which will run you an additional $20. But in my opinion, it is worth it. The magnetic jade pros do feel and sound a little bit better, but they are a little bit harder to actuate, so that is something to keep in mind when compared to the magnetic jade. You can of course also add additional shine through keycaps as well, or any wrist rests also, and you can do any desk mats as well. If you guys do decide to pick up any of NuPhy's products, you can use my code Jaeky or the link in the description below to get a 10% discount off your purchase, and that does help support the channel. So when I reviewed the Air60 HE, I actually really like that keyboard. I'm a huge fan of low profile, but there has never been low profile plus magnetic switches until the Air60 HE. So I really like the Air60 HE because it just combined like that really fast performance that you would get out of a Hall effect keyboard, plus that low profile feeling as well. And if the Air75 HE is anything like the Air60, then this is going to be a solid keyboard, which it already seems like it is. So as you can see here on the side, it is low profile, and low profile basically just means that the switches and keycaps are shorter than your traditional mechanical key switch. These are quite a bit shorter, as you can see here, meaning the key actually travels less, but it also just feels different when you type on it. So in the box, you are getting the keyboard itself, as well as just a quick start guide. You also get a switch and keycap puller 2-in-1, some additional keycaps. So as you can see here, the keyboard comes with these default translucent purple keycaps installed here. Kind of gives it like a gamer-esque sort of aesthetic, but if you guys don't like that and you want sort of a more minimalistic look, they do provide extra black keycaps that you can swap onto there, which is a nice touch if you want to change up the aesthetic of the board. And finally, you get the USB-C cable. This is not braided, it's just a rubber cable, and it is a straight cable here. So it's USB-C to USB-A. So this keyboard does come with all of the features that you would expect from a Hall effect board, such as rapid trigger, customizable actuation, SOCD, and hyper tap. And this board also supports 8000 Hz polling as well, so you are getting the lowest input lag possible. And as you can see here, like I said earlier, you can swap out the keycap, so you can either get this whole black look, or you can get the translucent keycaps depending on what you like. So this is the latency graph for the Air75 HE. All the testing is done by NuPhy. Obviously I have no way to prove this, but they do claim that the latency is extremely low, so you don't really have to worry about that at all. This is a top performing keyboard. And as you can see here, this is what the low profile switch looks like right here. And here are the specs of the low profile magnetic jade and the Jade Pro, so you can get a little comparison there. As you can see, something to keep in mind is that the Jade Pro does have a higher initial force to press down, so they do feel a little bit more stiff. So if you want a lighter typing experience, you might want to actually go for the magnetic jades instead. And yeah, if you're curious about the dimensions and all of the full specs, here you go. But let's take a look at the physical keyboard. So as you can see here, it's pretty much just the Air60 HE with extra keys. On the side here, you do have these two LED light bars, which you can customize. And then on the top left of the board, you have your USB-C port. And on the top right of the board, you have a little switch to switch between 3 different profiles, whether that's different operating systems, or you can actually customize this to have different profiles for different games. So depending on what you want to do, you can either do like Mac OS, Windows, or you can put each of these profiles on separate games, each with their own separate settings. So if you want to have rapid trigger off on one of the profiles, for example, that you can do and customize, which is very cool. On the bottom here, you just have this little solid plate with the Air75 HE. And then you have 2 adjustable feet with 2 separate levels. So you have your first level and then your second level here. Very nice. And this is what the magnetic Jade Pro looks like up close. And as you can see, this is the low profile keycap, much shorter than your traditional keycap. Now let's get this board plugged in so we can go over the software. One thing that I really like about NuPhy is that they have web-based software just like Wooting. So as you can see here, you just go to nuphy.io and then you can click Start, grant access to your keyboard, and it's very simple, just like booting, connects on web-based so you don't have to download anything to your computer, which I absolutely love. As you can see here, you can set 3 different profiles, so I'm just gonna edit the first profile. NuPhy is honestly like one of the only other companies that I've seen do web-based software really well, pretty much almost on the same level as Wooting, if not the same. So yeah, huge props to NuPhy for their web-based software. So yeah, let's go over the software real quick. So on the first tab here, you can obviously change just the key bindings. You can remap all of these keys, set macros if you want. On the second tab here is where you're going to change your rapid trigger settings and your actuation points. I'm just going to click select all, and as you can see, you can drag this little slider here and to set your actuation point, and then you can turn on rapid trigger as well. And I'm just going to set rapid trigger on the most sensitive there. Very simple. You can also select individual keys, and you can recalibrate your keys here depending on which one you have. On the third tab here, you can record macros and then assign them to keys. And then the fourth tab here is going to be your lighting effects. So side light is going to be these 2 LEDs on the side of the keyboard. You can change the lighting on these. And then backlight is just going to be your main RGB, so you can turn it off if you want, or you can just choose from a bunch of different effects here. And on the last tab here, you can change a bunch of stuff. You can lock your Windows key, Alt F4, and then you can also change your polling rates on this tab, and you can change the tick rate and everything as well. So yeah, very solid software here, gets everything done. You can also import and export profiles if you want to share your keyboard profile or use someone else's. And then if you just scroll down a little bit, you can update your firmware here and see the latest firmware as well. So yeah, very solid implementation of web-based software from NuPhy. I've never had any issues with this, and I've used it on several keyboards now. So in terms of performance, it's pretty much identical to the Air60HE, and if you guys watched my Air60HE video, I had nothing but good things to say about the performance. I really couldn't tell a difference between it and my Wooting 60HE or the Wooting 80HE. They all perform pretty much identical to one another. So I don't really feel a need to do any performance testing, but even like feathering the key right now and just looking at this key press visualization, it tracks pretty much the whole movement of the switch very smoothly here. If I press it down a little bit, it actuates as it's supposed to, and then if I press it down all the way, it shows up very accurately on the key press visualization here. So I really have no complaints about the performance. I imagine it's pretty much identical to the Air60HE, just a larger form factor. Alright, so now let's do a quick sound test of the keyboard so you guys can get an idea of what the Air75HE sounds like. Keep in mind, I am using the magnetic Jade Pro switches in this, and I do have the first flip up feet up because that is how I would normally type on the keyboard, so let's get into it. Alright guys, that was the sound test of the Air75HE. Sounds very nice, just like the Air60HE. And yeah, I really have nothing more to say about this keyboard. It's very solid, just like the Air60HE. If you are a low profile keyboard enjoyer and you want that extra performance from Hall effect and you want to combine the best of both worlds, and you want 75%, this is definitely going to be the keyboard for you. If you prefer 60%, then obviously go for the Air60HE, but both of these keyboards are top of the line in terms of performance, aesthetic, and sound. I really enjoy NuPhy's Air lineup of the HE keyboards. They're very solid, and I just can't recommend them enough, honestly. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I will leave a link to this keyboard in the description below if you want to check it out, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.